Press the start stream button. What am I getting myself into, huh? Hey. All right. The stream seems to be working. Hello again. It's a weekend day, so I get to actually do some stuff during the daylight hours as opposed to having to work. So, working on a programmable parser, as you might already know. Let me run it to demonstrate. So yesterday we were teaching the parser how to parse JSON because it's a different kind of file format. Also, it's easier, I think, for most people, I think, to understand this format rather than the one I was doing previously, which was one of the image formats. So I'm just kind of killing time here while I wait for my program to compile to show you. Oh, there it goes. So this is the JSON file we're parsing, and we're seeing it both in its raw bytes and in interpreted as text. You can kind of see the structure there. Well, it's probably a lot easier if I were to show you the same file in the text editor. So it's a JSON file, JavaScript simple object notation. So even if you don't really understand the format, you might get the gist of what's here. It's like someone's contact entry. So for John Smith and the address, phone numbers, that kind of thing. So we taught yesterday, I taught the parser that I'm writing to understand JSON. So it can pull apart and say, well, hey, there's the object. Here's the first, second, third elements, or fourth element. And for example, if I open one of these, it knows which part is the name and which part is the value, and the fact that it's a number and it's a number 27. We could also click anywhere here. For example, this N, and we can see that is the encoding of the first character of the value of the second element of the object, which is the fifth element of the main object. So there's the character, there's the string, there's the overall element and the overall object, that element, and the main object. Hey there, TS Just. Well, for me, it's right before noon. It's not an evening stream. Come on. Evening EU stream, midday US stream, I guess. So there are a couple things that I want to work on today. One is, if I could show this, I can have it restore the last session I had in the browser here. Yeah. There's this movie format from Interplay called MVE that's used in some retro games that another streamer has been playing around with, and I thought, hey, let's try to parse this as a challenge for my parser. Another thing, a couple other things I want to work on. Right now, when I am showing the name and actually any kind of string in my parser, it's not showing the actual string as the value in the value column. And that is because these strings I chose to parse as UTF-8, and I don't have a way to reassemble strings from UTF-8 character arrays. So kind of want to add that because I want to show it there. And I also wanted to clean up a few other things in the parser's the parsing description for JSON. Why do I not have that open? Oh, here it is. So my parser uses a custom language that I designed. So it has a built-in compiler. It compiles document descriptions and uses them to parse things. OpenBSD better Linux? No. Xubuntu better Linux. We're gonna rewrite everything in Go? No. Writing everything in Rust or my custom language. Security. Well, this is a virtual machine. I don't really need security. Arch Linux or go home. There's this syntax that I have in here called alt. Let me show you an example of this. So a value in JSON can be one of these things. And so the alt syntax of my language says, alternately try to parse it as an object. If it fails, try string. If it fails, try list. And if the first one that succeeds will stop the iteration through this. So like if it's a list, successfully parses it as a list, it says, okay, the value is a list. I don't need to try number or true, false, or null or any of that. That's what I was thinking. OpenBSD is not Linux. It's Berkeley system something, right? Yeah, watch out. That sword that GS Just has is pretty sharp. So in the alt thing, yeah, one thing that was annoying me last night is if we see a value that's true, false, or null, I'm using this expect literal, and right now it's returning the actual string, but I want to turn that actually into the native true, false, or nil types that I have in my parser's language. So let me find an example of one of those. Yeah, so here it says the value, and it's using the string null, but I want to actually turn that into nil. Kind of like how I turn numbers into actual native numbers. Let me try find one of those. Yeah, like this one. It interpreted the 27 as the value 27, and it didn't have to keep it as a string anymore. Can we input a little prediction? I was thinking about that too, because what happened here? Oh yeah. Because when I wrote this comment here, I'm like, if we just did one character look ahead and then did a bunch of if-else ifs, we wouldn't need this alt. So I might do that, or I might keep alt. It doesn't really, in the end, doesn't really matter to me too much. But I do want to, I was working on, right before the stream, I was seeing if this was possible, and I think it is, to do something like this, where instead of the semicolon here, we actually have a bunch of things like this: return true, and then return false, return nil. Then we actually are basically interpreting the value that we got back out. And then I actually don't even need these at all, right? That'd be basically a little cleaner. So I put that in the grammar, but I'm actually not, I didn't write a test for it yet, and I'm not using it in the parser. So this used to be semi, like this, where you ended a parsing statement with a semicolon, but now it can be optionally a bunch of span statements. So if I go look at op span statements, it's either semi, which means there's no statements, or if it sees an L brace, you have these extra statements. So I'm pulling it into with the grammar here as go back up. Or was it what I'm calling then, as in you parsed it and then do some other things, but I'm not actually using the then at all. So 2 steps I have to do here. I have to actually store the then in the abstract syntax tree node, which is called parse statement. And then when we actually do like execute a parse statement, we have to see if there are any statements in that then part of the node, actually go execute them. So that was one thing. Let me just get my bearings here. I have a to-do list. This, I think, actually works as a consequence of doing this. Because if you don't populate parts that failed, then you should be able to have one with the same name. So that, maybe I just verify, actually works. So this is how we would verify it. I would just name all of these value and it should just work, right? How'd that L get? Oh, that L, I cut it in the wrong spot. Let me see if that works. This value because I named it, right? Okay. Let me go look again. It's called value because, oh, I see. It's value and it has an internal value. So, well, it works. So I can tick that off the list. It's not really useful to me here, but yeah, we can say it's done. Done. Yeah, this has what I was describing earlier, being able to reconstruct strings from UTF-8 character arrays. This is a crash I need to investigate at some point. And then, right, I was going to do the new thing I thought about last night, which is implement then statements for successfully parsed parts or components. Hey there, and Dorn and Space Cadet Commander. Welcome to the stream. I don't think we need to see the open brace, closed brace. I think it actually kind of is unnecessary, right? And I think also the same thing for lists. Whereas, yeah, this list has like open bracket, close bracket. So maybe we ignore those. So there and there, ignore. There and there, ignore. Now it's a little bit cleaner. It says the value is an object with 9 elements. Yeah, and here's an object with 4 elements. The only consequence is when I click the overall thing, it doesn't see the whole thing in one group because the constituent parts have ignored pieces between them. So when I click the overall thing, it doesn't highlight anything. That's one downside of that. Oh, I can also get rid of the colons, right? Ignore the colon. Now it's just name and value. I don't like the fact that it says expect literal true. So maybe there I do name it. Oh yes, Endurn. I have a command for that. I thought I had a command for that. Oh, I guess it's OS. There we go. Add alias or alias com VM OS. Yes, the bot is alive. I don't think I have a hide command. I have a type. What is it? Typo command. Someone added that. It's either TSJust or Endurn, I think. No, you don't get any help from my bot. Doesn't like to help TSJust. I'm sorry. No help for you. Okay, yeah, I think to have it suppress that as the name, I think we just want to call it true or Boolean. Oh, and yeah, I have to, that means it has to be in front of the arguments. This will probably make it look a lot nicer now. Yeah, value boolean true. Okay, so this is starting to like look a lot more polished than it did before. Right? So we have a string, boolean, string, number, another object with 4 elements in it, string, and string. Then a list with 2 objects in it. Full strings. List with 3 things in it. Oh, just a list of 3 strings. That's what it is. I'm thinking about leaving the quotes in there because if for like object right now, if I click it, it doesn't highlight anything. Problem is if I have white space in there, it's gonna hose it too. Anyway, I'm just thinking to myself, sorry. But you can give it a JSON or XML file. Actually, we give it 2 files. So one file is the JSON file we're trying to parse. Here, no, not there. Here, I just closed it. Silly me. We give it this is the data file, the thing to parse. It puts it off onto the left, right? Then how it gets the stuff on the right is we give it a second file, actually a collection of files. The topmost one is a config file, which is json.toml right now. And it says, look in these other files for format descriptions, and the root format is document. So if you go and look at those, json. I just have too many things open now. Each format file has what looks like functions, but really these are descriptions on how to parse different kinds of things. So document, we just saw, was the top level. So it parses in order. So first it parses optional whitespace, then the value, and then more whitespace at the end. And like a value is one of these things. And just to be simple, like let's do number. A number has 1 or more digits, and we assemble them as decimal, and we break if we aren't able to parse the digit. And if we didn't at least have 1 digit, then it's not a number, right? And a digit is a UTF-8 character that's between these 2 code points, and we subtract the base from that, and we get the digit, we recover the digit from it. So the program has a built-in compiler to compile all this format description because it's a custom language, right? So it compiles the format stuff into abstract syntax trees, 1 for each format. So there's a tree for document, a tree for optional whitespace, etc. And then it holds that in one hand, and in the other hand it holds the data, and basically uses the abstract syntax tree in one hand as a recipe on how to walk through the data in the other hand. Only handles lowercase code point numbers, not uppercase. What do you mean for number? For number, there's no case, right? Or for digit. Do you mean like alternate code points for digits? It doesn't handle that. It just handles the traditional ASCII digits, if that's what you mean. So it does. I did have. I did describe the format for all UTF-8. So, and I even had a test for that in the sample JSON. You might have seen it. There's an emoji. So when we parse that emoji, it is where? Here. You can see it's a single character. That's the code point. I was thinking also last night, maybe in addition to showing the value in decimal, I could show it in hex, because usually Unicode code points are in hex, U plus and then the hex number, right? So maybe I want to change the GUI to show it in hex as well. But yeah, it interpreted these 4 bytes as the code for one character, rather than mistaking it as 4 characters. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just distracted. I had too many files open. Yeah, I think I was adding that new grammar, right? I added these optional span statements, and so we're parsing them, but we're not yet doing anything with them. The first thing I wanted to try doing something with was here, to turn what's right now just saying it's a string, I think. Did I stop the program? Huh. Let's find where they had that true, like, or like, let's say null. Yeah, it shows it as the string null. I want to actually turn it into nil. So this statement set I wanted to actually execute. Right now it's not executing them. Test-driven development, right? So I need to make another test. Where to put the test? I guess we should first test that it's parsing it correctly. So that would be under statement, right? Yeah. So I have a bunch of unit tests for statements. Let's add a new one. Might as well just add it at the end. Or actually, I probably have parse statements in here. I can just add existing ones. There we go. So we have a part. Then we have a part with the bit stream. Ignore. Another ignore. A look ahead. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the part with bitstream test case and change it to part with then clause. Part with then clause. So we don't have the in bitstream colon. We just have a format, have a name, have some arguments. Let's get rid of the arguments in bound, because it just crowds things. So instead of a semi, it's L brace. Brace, right? And there's going to be another statement inside of it. Inner statement. Let's keep it simple. So we'll just call it spam. And then a semi. A semi truck. Semi statement. So that should parse as no bit stream. Parse statement with no args. Format is bar. Parsing goal part. Lower bound none. Name Baz, no upper bound. And then we're going to add something here, right? So then will be a vector with its own parse statement inside. And it can indeed nest. In this case, it's not really going to nest any deeper than one level. And that's a spam format with no name. Okay, so this won't even build yet because then is not even an element of parse statement. So we have to fix that. Already sort of. Oh no, it is sorted alphabetically, right? So then we'd go here. Parse. No. Span statements, I think. Howdy, Stripe Monkey. Stripe Monkey, Endorn, and a couple other people. The only people that I have their names etched onto my keyboard silkscreen. So I will always remember that Adam Learnsarian, Endorn, and Stripe Monkey were around to help me make my keyboard. All right, so the then clause. List of statements to execute if the component is successfully parsed. Parse the format and then tells it how to parse another data format and then compiles it down to being able to sorta. Oh, because Nilan Dude asks what kind of data are we parsing? Yeah, so let's run it again just to show you. So let's say we had a JSON file, because we do. Here's what a JSON file looks like. Let's say we want my programmable parser to teach it how to understand JSON, because it can understand any format that you describe to it. So you describe the format using a custom language that I made, and here's what it looks like. They look like functions, but each one is describing a piece of data, and like the top level one document is describing the entire file. So, right, the entire file is some white space with the value inside, right? And the value is one of these, so it's probably an object, right? And an object has an opening brace and a closing brace, and in the middle it's got name value, so separated by white space, and then they're delimited by commas, and if there's no comma, then we break out of this loop, right? So think of these function-like things as sort of a combination of like a recipe to follow and a description of all the components that need to be parsed in order to turn the raw bits of the file into a data structure. So when we take that recipe into the program, it compiles this into an abstract syntax tree in memory that's like a data structure that we walk through. And we walk through that data structure alongside the input data file, kind of like, that's why I show it side by side. Here's the input data file, right? And on the right here is the output of parsing that. So it figured out by going through the recipe that value at the top of the document is an object with 9 elements in it. And if I click on them, you can see how it's figured out where each one is. And if I dig into any particular one, it's like, okay, the name of this is children. The value is a list with 3 strings in it, right? So you can teach it other formats. So for example, I have up in the stage folder, pog slide GIF. Projects, page, pog slide, right? It's a GIF file. It's an animated GIF. It's got some frames in it. So we open it up. It's right now it's trying to parse it as a JSON, and it's like, this is not a value, right? Can't parse it. So we have to say, well, change from the JSON configuration to the GIF configuration. Now it's like, oh, okay. So there's the header. There's the signature GIF, the version of the format. Here's the logical screen description, the width and the height. And here are the data blocks. There's a app extension, and then there are the 10 graphic control blocks. So each one is like an individual frame of the animation. You click all the way down into image data. Here are the here's the raw token stream to decode, and then if I hover over it, there's the decoded lookup indices into the palette to draw the image. So the last step to make this super cool would be if I take this image that I'm showing hovered over and actually plot it on the screen. Then you would see kind of one still image of PogSlide, but like I'd probably make it larger so that you can mouse over an individual pixel and show like where is it in the data stream, you know, what color it actually is, what are the RGB values, that kind of thing. So I haven't done that last cool step, but since like it's really hard to understand for someone looking at this not knowing what I'm doing to see like what the heck are all these random characters mean, I said, well, let's go teach the parser how to do JSON, because then at least it makes a little bit more sense what we're looking at. It's also a different kind of format, so it's a good way to like make sure that the language I designed for the parser is flexible enough to support that. JSON toml. And now it's trying to parse the, oh, actually that's the wrong file. Open config JSON toml. Open the data is the sample JSON. There we go. So the tool opens two files at once. The thing to parse, and then the recipe on how to parse it. Hey there, Kevin RPB. How are you doing? All right. So back to what I was doing. Back. What was I looking at? Oh yeah. So I'm adding a list of statements that you can execute if something parses successfully, because in my JSON format, I found a place where, hey, if we successfully parse a value as the string true, we want to interpret that as true. I used to have this in the syntax earlier. I called it interpretations, but I didn't have it as a list of statements. I had it as a key value map, or key value pair list, or something like that. This actually makes it more functional because we can have control statements in there like return. Return is important because what we give to return becomes the interpreted value of the overall thing, right? So yeah, we have to do that for these to actually convert the string into the Boolean correctly. So back, I'm doing error-driven development now because I added this to a parse node in the abstract syntax tree, and then everywhere I use it, it's going to say, "Oh, you're missing that. You're missing it." So I got to add it everywhere. Oh, we want to skip. This is the grammar stuff. We skip that for now, right? Actually, let's handle the grammar right now. That's here. So wherever we assemble a parse statement, I have to add the then. Then. And down here, then. And then down here, then. Save that, and to Clippy, it should rebuild the grammar from the grammar description, and then my error count should go way down. Yeah, we only have 18 errors then. All right, so it's mostly going to be in my tests, because my tests construct parse statements directly. So it's going to be a lot of saying the thens are empty vectors, because almost all of my tests don't use then clauses. It's going to be a lot of places. I don't know why it didn't indent that. I'm not going to think too much of it. Actually, I do want this to be there alphabetically, right? I don't know why it's not indenting. I guess it's too challenged right now. Wait, this one has it then. I think this is just struggling to keep up. There we go. Shouldn't then be none? No, then is actually a vector. It's a vector span statement. So if you don't have a then clause, the optional span statements here is an empty vector. Here. So I just thought that was simpler because if I did want to use option, it would be optional vector of span statements. I'm kind of folding the none in with empty vector, kind of means the same thing. You need to parse the format that is using to parse the format. You mean, can it parse itself? Not right now. Conceivably, yes, I could write a format in my language that instead of teaching the parser how to parse JSON, it could parse itself. Maybe I keep that as a challenge for sometime in the future. Make the parser parse itself. Oh, what's this going on? Oh, this has to be a span statement, not a parse statement. So how do I make it a span statement again? Oh, with span? That's right. Where's that error again? So a span statement is you decorate it with a span. And that's so that if there's an error, it knows what line and column number the statement came from the original file. It doesn't really matter what oh no, it does matter what I put here, because the span is the index of the index of the first and last token. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So 3 and 4, I think. Waiting for it to... Oh, it still doesn't like it? What did I do wrong? Expected statement found parse statement. Oh, okay, so I have to decorate it again. I have to kind of make it look like that. I don't like how it's not, right now it's not able to indent it automatically. It's bugging me. I don't know what I did to break the formatter. At least it's happy though. Maybe because of the errors, the other errors in the file. Yeah, maybe it gave up. I don't blame it. So most of my tests are going to have an empty then vector, so it won't be that big a deal. It's just going to be a little bit of grinding here to go through them all. Also, the whole thing is inside of a derived-like macro, so that also might be stressing out the formatter. Well, only 22 left to go through here. We'll get there. You know, I should have, when I made these tests, used a builder pattern, so I wouldn't have to change it in like 36 different places. I could have just had it build it from a default, and then only the place where we actually have something in the den vector would I actually need to do something. Hindsight being 2020, you know. Build that then. Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering at what point will I need to start using AI? I'm thinking the answer is if something I want to do that's fun is more fun with AI, then I would use it. But until then, probably not. Put it on the growing to-do list. Hey, man, the to-do list is actually not growing. It's actually shrinking. Look at all these to-do items that are done or canceled. They're all done. How do you get the count again for how many to do things? I guess here. Look, we're 82% done. 82% done. 25 left to do. We've canceled 11 of them. All right. 18% to go. That's right. All right. So when I run my test now, it should utterly fail, right? Because I didn't actually, well, actually, no, I did add the parser grammar rule, so it actually might succeed. So it can parse the syntax. No, it didn't. I was too optimistic. Part with then clause is failing. Let's see how it's failing. It's probably failing. I'm going to guess that I got the span wrong in some way. Okay. What's different about this? Yeah, the span is wrong. So expected 4 to 5, it's really 4 to 6. All right, because the end is the token after the last token. So it's wait. I don't see a 4 or 5. Is it adding 1 to these numbers? It must be adding 1. Oh, right, because it's 1 based instead of 0 based. Yeah, so this just needs to be a 5. Oh, wrong one. Building. Build faster. Build faster. There we go. Pass. Build all the things. Everything passes. Cool. So we can parse this kind of thing, but we're actually not doing anything with it. So I need to have a unit test that actually makes sure that it actually does those statements. So let me close everything. So that would be in ingestion, tests. It's any statement, any parse, any part. I can go to the part tests and add it here somewhere. So what do we have? Like, got a lot of different things. It doesn't really matter. I can just pick a simple one. Okay, we'll just pick span bytes. And I'll just add it to the very end. Copy. Test then clause, or then statements. So we have to have something that has a then in it. So let's keep it simple. We'll have 4 bits, and then we'll have another 4 bits. Whoop. My cursor jumped and I don't know why. Right? So this is the then clause. It's basically after one parse statement, a parse statement, if successful, can have more statements. So let's just keep it simple. It's 1 byte with 4 bits and then another 4 bits, right? So we should get 0101 for X and 1010 for Y. 010 and 1010, and there's no Z. Run that test. So it should fail right now because it shouldn't get any value for Y. It panicked on here, saying that there's no key, so it couldn't find Y. It didn't execute this line at all. Oh, I want to test also that we return early and we don't have a Z. And let me add another byte here, 42. Because I want control flow statements to also be executed. So I want the side effect, not a side effect. I want the control flow to also be tested. It shouldn't parse a Z. So I'm just stealing stuff from other tests for a sec. It's like has or is some contains key. That's what I'm looking for. So we should not contain the Z key. Assert that foo's keyed children does not contain a Z. We can also guarantee. We can also check that it parsed the exact correct number of bits. It's offset, I thought. Yes, this one. If we borrow the bit stream and ask for its offset, it should be 8, not 16. All right. It's still going to panic on 936, right? Oh, no, we have an unexpected token. It didn't like the return here. Really? $23? Oh, you can't just return nothing. Return nil. I forgot about that. I didn't make the value for return optional. It's required. Okay, so it parsed that correctly, then it's executing it, and it says, oh, we can't find Y in keyed children. Okay, so let's let me bookmark my test so I get back to here. Do I need that bookmark anymore? Probably not. That. Let's keep the alt statement one around. But I want to right now jump to parse statement, because the parse statement has the then clause in it, right? And we only want to execute it if it's successful. So here's if there's an error, it returns the error, unable to parse something. It's right in between these two that we want to execute any then statements. You should use bookmarks. For a while, I used breakpoints, but then I found bookmarks were kind of nice, both in VS Code and in Xcode, in that they seem to give you a little bit more context, and they're a little bit more readable to me than breakpoints. Oh, and I lost my spot. Hey, let's make another bookmark so we don't lose it again. And really, I should memorize here. It's Control-Alt-K. So that would be this. I have to commit that to muscle memory. So I have like a execute statements, right? Self-execute statements. The statements are, I think I called it part. Yes. No. Where's the syntax? Statement. Dot then. So it it returns the scope. So I can just replace the return scope with that, right? Is that all I need to do? Is it that easy? Wow. Didn't even know bookmarks was a thing. Yeah, in most editors these days, bookmarks is a thing. It's not built into VS Code. It's extension. But for Xcode, it's built in, and I don't know about Visual Studio, but yeah, VS Code, it's an extension. Let's see if my test passes now. Hey, it just works. Isn't that cool? All I had to do is add it to the syntax and then add that, and it's done. It works. So that means when I run the GUI now, I should actually see the interpreted Boolean values like I had put into the syntax, right? Decode in Swift too, I do that for work. Love to, so I can't talk much more about it though, but you could probably guess the certain fruit company I work for. Built into Sublime Text, you should get that extension of VS Code. Yeah, I'm finding it more and more handy to use bookmarks than to use breakpoints for finding places. Use bookmarks for finding places. Use breakpoints for having the debugger find or stop at places. Okay, that didn't quite work. It's still returning the string, so I need to look into that. What did I do? And how are you doing, YGT Skadog? Let's see, JSON format, right? So it should be returning nil, but it's not, right? Oh, no, it is. That's what that null is, right? No, that's not right. That's not right. It's still returning the string. Wait, hold on. Is that because it collapsed the value with the null? It collapsed this value with null. Yeah, actually, I think this part's broken. The return value is broken. I think I might know what's happening. I think the return value is being attached to a different component than the one we intended. Let me make a test to verify that. So like here, instead of returning the nil, let's return something easy to check for. 16. So we should get value unsigned integer 16 here. So maybe that's not happening. No, it is happening. So why? How am I losing the return value then? Oh, it might be because it's part of an alt. Okay, so need another test then. Like, kind of like this test, but with an alt in it. I think that should go in the alt tests. Down here. Let's call it like test return from alt. Return from then inside alt. So instead of this, it's just alt. Put X there. Yeah, and then a nest a return in there. So change that to Y4. The way this should work now, I don't need a second byte here. The offset should only be 4 because it should never parse Y. It should parse X successfully and return 16. So we should get 16 out. We should have X, which is the first 4 bits. There's no Y or... Yeah, there's no Y. I'm going to guess that this is broken. That this will fail. Yep. Oh, it failed on... Oh, I see. The return scope didn't make it beyond the alt. So it kind of dropped the return value and it parsed Y. So there is a Y where there shouldn't be. Okay, so it's a problem with alt, not with the then clause. So let me try to see if I remember the keystroke there. alt statement, right? What's wrong here? Oh, there we go. That's the problem. We actually dropped the return scope here and we just turned it into a next. That's the problem. So this needs to be changed to if let OK return scope equal that. Then OK return scope. Let's see if that fixed it. Yay! All right. So rebuild and rerun that. I love unit testing. Let's be focusing on like what should it do in this particular case, and then I reproduce how it doesn't do what I want, and then I fix it, and then the test runs again. Actually, I should have just run all my unit tests first. But I was so happy that that test was passing that I'm like, let me see it in JSON now. Oh yeah, aren't you also a streamer, Mr. YGT Skadog? It would be nice to see you streaming again too. Okay, it's still returning the string null. I want the value to be nil, or basically blank here, but it's not doing that. I wonder if it's actually showing up for this, and that's why I'm not seeing it. Let me look for one that had the number in it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so true works, but null does not. Right. When it went into Boolean, it expected a literal and it saw the string true. You can actually see the individual characters TRUE, true, and then it interpreted as the value true without quotes around it. Okay, so it's working for the Boolean, but it's not working for the nil for some reason. So why might that be? Why indeed? It's the last alternate. It should attach the value to value. Oh, I think I see why. It's nil. That's right. I remember the GUI collapses nodes if they don't have a value. So if instead I said like return nil or hello chat, then it should work. I go down to here, hello chat. Okay. So it's the fact that my GUI doesn't want to show, like nil means there is no value. So maybe I just keep that as the string null. And I think that's what it would have done anyway if I didn't have this. So yeah, so I don't really need to do anything different. Yeah, I think I'll just keep it that way. Okay, so that's cool. I have alternate for then clauses. So let me mark that off my list. I did add that to the list, right? I want credit for it. Yeah, I did. Done. Although I didn't test other things like break and error. Should I do that? Probably should. Yeah, let's add a test just for the heck of it. So like one for break. So we'd have like a loop. X. Let's have it do 1 bit, and then we'll say like the then clause for that bit is if x is a 0, then break. So that return scope should make its way all the way out, so that the easiest way to do this is just make a pattern of 1 bits and then count them. So do 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0. One more one. So that should be 3 bits. And then it should stop. Yeah. I don't need to do any of this other stuff, right? Because I don't really care. It should consume exactly... No, it should consume 4 bits because the last one will be a 0 and cause it to break. So I don't even need to look at that. This, I need to rename it. Test break from then statement. Run test. It failed. It parsed 0 bits? What? Oh, because I never parsed anything. I can't click the garbage. It goes away when I get... There we go. I deleted the line that actually did the parsing. That ingest line. Let me copy it from the other test. So if we don't ingest, we're actually not parsing. I deleted it because it said I wasn't using the variable, which is true. I wasn't using the variable foo. So I can just discard it. Okay, cool. So break works because the break caused us to break as soon as we got to the 4th bit, so we only parsed 4 bits. Now let's do an error. Error from then statement. So the same thing, only we're going to say error. I don't like 0. I like heroes, not zeros. So here it should also parse 4 bits, and I actually do want to get foo because I want to verify that it has the error bit set. Copy that from another test. Here. So foo should have an error flag set. And it should have only parsed 4 bits. Okay, that worked. So we have the error message. I like heroes, not zeros. And it passed the test. Awesome. Okay, that's annoying. As soon as I get close to the trash icon, it disappears. Run all the tests. Yay. 669 tests. There's this bug I can try to fix. Oh, I did promise Quantum Apprentice that I would add an MVE parser. I think I just want to finish up JSON right now. So really, it's down to, am I happy the way it's parsing now? I think I'm not, because I want the values of strings to show up, and they're not. I think I also don't want to hide the syntax anymore, because it doesn't highlight the overall object anymore like it used to. So I think if I don't hide the open close brace, that it should fix that. Yeah, see now when I click on an object, it highlights the whole thing. We just have the side effect of we have to go another level to get to the elements. No Discord announcement. I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm gonna make streamer mistakes because I haven't streamed in like a year and a half. Sorry, A squared. Did I fix that? Let's see. Go to Discord, stream plans. Sorry. Forgot to say streaming now. There, I fixed it. Okay. Okay, I think the only thing I really want to fix now is I want okay, list. There's two things. List, I need to put the delimiters back to not ignore them anymore, because otherwise highlighting the whole list doesn't work. That should be fixed now. There we go, whole list, right? And the other thing I wanted to fix was strings don't have their values here. So to fix that, I have to take the characters inside the string. They're UTF-8 characters, so we might even have like emojis and stuff. And I need to string them, I need to concatenate them back together into a string. So let me see if I can already do that, because I might have done it and just forgot that I did it. You know, that happens. So the way I would do it is, here I would have like value equals the string containing double quote. And then here I would add double quote to it, and then a return value. See what I get for that. Okay, I get bad string. Can I not have a double quote inside a double quote? Do I have to escape it doubly? I forget what I had to do there. Unterminated string. Okay, actually, I don't know if I've ever tested escaping double quotes in my strings. Probably don't have escapes. What DSL is this? It's one that I made myself. So let's go look at the Lexer part of my DSL and see what I might have done wrong. So strings, where are strings? I think they're at the bottom. There we go. Okay, so what's wrong with my regular expression? It looks like I don't support escaping anything. I don't support escaping at all. Yeah, I guess I never added escape support, just like what A squared said. So, question is, do I add escaping, or do I do it a different way? A different way would be maybe simpler right now, where I would start off with the string equivalent of whatever the ASCII code is for double quote, because I need that to work anyway. The double quote is 22 hex, right? I just don't know if this works. I want it to work, so maybe it's fine that I'm testing it now. I think it actually worked. So I need to actually look at an element that has a string in it. Okay. So it didn't actually work. It took the number 34 and turned it into a string. Okay, good to know it doesn't work. I guess that makes sense. Like if you wanted, because 22 hex is 34 decimal, if you wanted to convert the number 34 into a string, that's what I would do. What if I make another built-in called char that makes a single character string from a UTF-8 code point, right? Because then what I would end up doing here is I would have a then clause where I would say value plus equals char c, and then I would end up with the string I want. Oh yeah, I showed the Lexer part. It's using logos, right? This is turning this thing into a token sequence. So the other part is the grammar. We use a parser generator called Lollerpop. It's like a combination of like parser generators like syntax and Rust. So you can have Rust declarations, and then this says, oh, now the grammar starts. And these are all grammar rules for a parser generator. And really briefly, at a super high level, what this does is it builds a compiler that can take your your program. In my case, it's this format description, and turn it into a syntax tree, or basically an in-memory representation of this text file, where the representation is like a data structure with all sorts of connected nodes, and the nodes it's all strongly typed, and it basically it's a data structure I can walk through in my program to execute the parsing in the correct order. I haven't shown the abstract syntax tree in a while, so let's go ahead and do that. So, for example, oh, I'm having the, okay. Might have to reboot the VM because I can't click down here. I can use the keyboard though, right? For example, where do I start? Formats, maybe? Format? For example, document is a format, right? A format has a name, it can have arguments, and it has a vector of spanned statements, right? A span is just a decorator that remembers a location, which is like the line and column number of the beginning and the end of that statement. A statement is either a parse statement, so it says parse something, or it could be an if statement with else's and else ifs, or it could be a loop, which is like a for loop, or it could be a while loop, or just a loop. There's the alternate syntax, a bound statement, assignment, accumulate, increment, decrement, you know, all the things that you could have as a statement, right? So starting from format, like if we're parsing a JSON, parsing a JSON would be execute a bunch of statements in order, and the statements would be like, oh, parse something, and then you might have a loop or a conditional. So these are the data structures that we get in memory when the parser generator's code compiles this as input, right? So hopefully I didn't lose you with that explanation, but to go any deeper, I'd have to teach you compilers, and that's like college level class. I am back to streaming, yeah. Hey there, Fabik. Yeah, so right now I'm working on actually rebuilding strings that we're parsing. So I need to add a built-in called char, right? Because right now, when I run this, it's going to say, why does it say unknown format document? And I can't click here. Here we go. Unable to parse value. I completely broke it, didn't I? Let's comment these out for a sec. Because I might have damaged the file in some other way that I don't know. And okay, it really was that this stuff I added. So what part did it not like? This part maybe? Unable to parse value. It didn't like that. Wait, it's 197 it's breaking on. Is it because I called it value? I just say char. It doesn't like that. Is char a format? Hold on. UTF-8 char, there's char string. That's weird. It should have said, oh wait, no. I'm suppressing errors that happen. All right, so I just broke the string. I broke the string format. It gets to here and there's an error, but we don't see it because string is in an alternate syntax. Why do I have all these spaces? I don't want spaces there. Oh, and actually, yeah, if I don't have any parameters, I don't need the parentheses either. Yeah. Don't know what I was thinking. Okay, yeah, so the real problem here is there's an error in the syntax because it doesn't know what char is. Once we make it understand what char is, though, it actually should work. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Thank you, TS Jost. What am I doing? Yeah, there's also the today command. Project. DSL. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at an example of a recipe in the language I invented for my parser to teach the parser how to parse certain things. This in particular is JSON. So I'm working on reassembly of strings from UTF-8 characters, and I need to have a built-in that takes a number and forms a character out of it. That's not what I need right now. So let's do that. Let me make a unit test for it. Suggestion source tests. I guess we're gonna make a new test file. So then I want to go to actually test. Oh, and I can't click it. Okay, time to reboot. Something between the Parallels virtual machine and the guest OS causes me I get dead zones clicking on different parts of the window. The only fix I know of right now is to reboot, but rebooting is pretty quick. It doesn't bother me too much. See, we're already back. We're back. And now I can click on things again. Tests. We want to add another test module called char. Char a reserved word? It is, right? No, it just doesn't exist. So let's make it. Copy from string into char. Or I could make it, I could just use string. Let's use char. So test, I really only need one thing, right? Return char. Actually, let's just say test char 1 byte. That's double quote, right? So I should get the string with, well, let's pick another character. Z is 5A hex. Is capital Z. There we go. So we'll run that test, and it should fail because we don't have a built-in function called char right now. It should say we get nil. Oh, also, since we didn't set up the logger, it's not going to actually show the error message. Let me catch up on chat. Hey, Tinspin, where did I go? I'm trying to be back. I was gone for 1.5 years because a combination of work being really stressful and life being stressful. And I didn't really have room in my life to do streaming, but I have been working on my hobbies, just not streaming it. And actually, the stream that I did last Wednesday was the first one since 1.5 years, and I did a catch-up thing where I showed like what I added offline in the last 1.5 years. Mostly it was refinements to the GUI, but I also had search functionality and a few other things. And so life and work has settled down a bit now, so it's not as stressful. So I wanted to get back to streaming. So I'm going to try to be back. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and a weekend day. It might go back to just weekdays like Monday, Wednesday, and or Friday, or it might go to just weekends. I don't know. I am a huge fan of CM Griffing. You see the chat overlay above me? That's made by CM Griffing. It's called Stream Parrot. How come the types don't show up next to the variable names? They do if I hold down that key. So those are like inlay hints. You can either turn them on all the time, or you can have them turned on when you hold down some keys, or you can just have them not show at all. But yeah, a lot of the time in Rust, you don't need to say the types because the compiler figures it out. You can always put the type in manually if you like to see the types, but I kind of like not typing the type because then it allows me to change the type somewhere else and I don't have to update it in hundreds of places. Better have them off. I don't know. It's up to you. I think you can. When I do show the types here, you can see that like when I compile the formats, I get a hash map of strings to formats, and I can actually click on that to see what a format is. It's in my abstract syntax tree. And you can see that my bitstream is actually a shared handle behind a ref cell, and it's also type erased. So there's a bitstream trait, and that's any object that can give you bits and other things. Like you can make it little or big endian. You can tell if it's empty, how long it is, what offset you can set the offset, kind of like a file. But there are multiple implementations of it. Actually, 4 implementations. Buffer, composite, synthetic, and file are the main ones. But yeah, see, when I show the types, it actually crowds things around. Shows you more info, but maybe it's a little bit more information than you might want. It's distracting. What's 5A? That's my test character. I want that to be capital Z. 5A is capital Z in ASCII. So I want to have a 1-byte test, and then I want to have another one with an emoji. I think that's probably comprehensive enough. In fact, let's write that now. So if I have emoji, let's just use the emoji I was using before. Where's my terminal? How come my terminals are all gone? Do I need to reload VS Code again? Oh, I already have a dead zone. I'm doing something to the VM, I think, where I'm getting a dead zone in the. I can't click. Very annoying. Well, just typing the type speed of compile time? No, it actually adds a constraint. So you actually can get. It's good and bad because if you want a specific type, it will force it to be that. And if the compiler says I can't make the code fit like that, it'll say, well, the type is mismatched. But sometimes the compiler doesn't know which type it should use, and then putting the type, the constraint helps it. So it depends on the situation. Okay, I get my terminal thing back? Yes. Okay, so let's run this. I wanted to, oh, I broke it. I need to do before I broke it. Or I can just pick it out of here. Actually, then I don't even need to look at my code. I can just open the sample. I want to get this emoji, right? Problem is I don't know what the code is unless I look at it in the hex editor, which I can do in a second. So we want to get that emoji out. Let me run the code just to see where it's like right here. This guy. Right, so F0 9F 9890. Okay, we all memorize that? F0 9F 9890. F0. Actually, hold on. That's not the we can't use that. That's not the code point. The code point. Let me just fix my parser so that we can get the code point out. I have to comment out these things here to see that. Okay, now I can run it. Now I can see what that code point is. It's 128.528. So that code point should be that emoji. All right. Thank you, A squared. Yeah, so we actually want the parsed code point out. That's the UTF-8 rendering of it. Yeah, because that's the whole idea. Is I want to start with a code point. I wanted to turn it into the character. So I think Rust has a built-in thing to do that, right? I just need to implement this char function now. Verify I get the result I was expecting. Yeah. Unknown format char, call to char failed. Got nil instead of the string z. Okay, so let's add that. That's in context. When it's like ingest here actually I was right there. Ingest composite. So here are the built-ins, right? I just need to add a built-in char. I guess it's gonna kind of be like what? Kind of like floor, I guess, where we're not actually ingesting bits, we're just converting an argument. So ingest as char instead of floor. And we'll just make a copy of this thing. I guess it would go right here, right? So there should be an argument. And the argument, I want to cast it to integer. Don't I have a... How do I cast to unsigned integer? I forget how I did that. If it's bits, no, it's not bits. Oh, I'd never refactored it out. This is what I want, but I really should refactor it out first, right? Yeah. Should I just do that now? Let me bookmark here and then cast the decimal. Why don't I just add it now? Cast to unsigned integer. Yeah, I'm just missing. Oh, I have it. Why didn't I use that in the other place then? I don't know. Weird. Are these different? Is that why? Hold on. Now I lost my place. Bookmark that so I don't lose my place. Is that, how different is that from this? Decimal integer is ambiguous. But then what do I do here for decimal? I just cast it to U64. It looks like I did the same work twice, and in one I made a function out of it like I should have, and the other one I just left it there. I don't know why I did it that way. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see this right now, and I'm gonna use what I wanted to use. I guess I didn't have a, I didn't make a bookmark. I'm like trying to leave bookmarks for myself, and I forgot to do one. Here. There. Okay. It's cast unsigned integer. I didn't see it at first because I haven't imported it. It doesn't. No, it doesn't see it immediately. I need to do this, I guess. Maybe it's not public. Yep, it's private. That's why. No need for it to be private. Public that thing. There we go. And then we get string. And then this is the important part. We want to take that argument, which is a U64, and we want to interpret it. So it's like char from U32, I guess? Unchecked. Not all U32s are valid chars. So I guess I think I just want to map that error, right? Or wait, it said it's returning a option. So what? Oh no, it's not okay. Catching up on chat. Hey Ootsby, you're a bad time zone to catch my stream. Oh, thank you for the welcome back. Yeah, I am sorting things alphabetically. So did I put it in the wrong place? I probably did. Well, thank you, another guy in the chat. You got okay or? Probably. Yeah, that's what I want. String to string. Actually, I guess I'll do a format here. Put me on another line so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. Okay, I got my parentheses unbalanced here. There. Format. I want to be able to see this thing on its own line for a sec. Okay, format. What's the error here? Oh, shoot. I guess I'd need to do a toString. Okay. It keeps sabotaging my attempts to put that on its own line for my own comfort. Okay, format, argument cannot be, is not convertible, is not a valid Unicode code point. Fine. May truncate the value. Try from. Yeah. U32 try from. Argument. I just need to map that error. I've probably done try from elsewhere. I can just copy. Ah, I just did that. Okay. That's fine. There we go. Let's see if it works. Where was my test? Did I not bookmark my own test? Didn't. Bookmark the thing. Okay, run the test. Hey, it passed. Okay, but now does the emoji one pass? Yes, it does. All tests pass, right? What are we building? We are building a programmable parser. So yeah, people come and go in chat, and I don't want to re-explain what I'm doing too many times, but I'll do it one more time. So I'm making a tool that I want to be able to reuse to parse any kind of files. Image file, movie file, audio file, JSON file, XML, whatever, right? Especially useful for more complicated file formats where there's something broken in the file and I kind of want to see what's broken about it. So here we've taken a JSON file and we're showing it in like a hex and ASCII editor. And on the right, the tool has figured out what's in the file. So it sees that it's an object with 9 elements in it, and we can click individual elements and we can see the names and the values. So, and it works for nested things. So where is it? This element has its own object, which has its own elements inside here, 4 of them. And the way I teach my program how to parse different formats is I write a format description in a custom language that I came up with. So here's the format description for JSON, right? So a document is a value with white space optionally around it. And then a value, which is down here, is there are alternative ways to parse it. It tries them in order until one passes. It's either an object, string, list, number, or true, false, null. So if you know JSON, it might look more familiar. Here's the input, by the way. So that's what JSON looks like. So like this is an object. This is a string. This is a number. This is a truth, right? True or false. Here's a null. Those are the different data types that you'll see around here. But I have to teach my parser exactly how to turn the input bits into any of these things. And it gets a little bit involved, like even like something like a number is kind of hard to describe. Here's what it looks like. So a number is we're building a number into the sum and we're returning it, right? We have to loop and we have to parse digits, but if we can't parse it as a digit, then we've hit the end of the number, right? It's either a comma or a space or something, so we've hit the end of the number, so we break out of the loop. And then while we're able to parse digits, we're kind of like assembling the number by multiplying what we had by 10 and adding the next digit. So we're like shifting the number over, right? So if you see a 2 and then a 7, its sum is 2, and then it's 2 times 10, which is 20, plus 7, 27, right? We parsed 27. We return it back out. If we never got any digit, then this first will stay true because we only get to first equals false if we get a digit. So if the first time through the loop, this fails, so we go to the break, this will be true, so we know it's not a number. So you kind of see how involved it can be. But the cool thing is these form building blocks. So once we've like described how to parse a number, how to parse a string and all that good stuff, well then I can package it up as a value or a name and a value. A name and a value. So we're reusing value here. We're reusing string, that kind of thing. The MMO is mothballed, Tinspin, because I'm not allowed to work on game development while at my current job. It's one of their like hard and fast rules. So that's in the job rules. So job rule 1 kind of prevents me from working on game dev. Now I could quit my job and then go back to game dev, but the job pays me pretty well, so kind of happy with the job. So sorry, it's mothballed. Seems to be mostly motionless object. Yes, exactly. But my job is pays me really well. I like it. I get to do programming. I don't get to do Rust, but you know, otherwise I'm happy. It's less stressful now. That's why I'm able to stream again. So I think that with the recent changes where we can interpret characters again, I should be able to reassemble strings. And it didn't work. So there's something wrong with this. I'm thinking what I can do. Hold on, let me think about this. I want to get extra info out of this. Maybe it's the plus equals that's not working. Let's see if at least I can get that. Okay, that works. So we should have like double quoted things for the strings here. Yeah, so we have... Actually, I don't even need the double quote because it's a string. It'll end up putting the double quotes around it. So technically, I don't need this at all. I could just start with an empty string and then return it here, right? Could this be used to make programming languages? I don't think it's Turing complete. So this format description, I don't think you can use it as a general purpose programming language. It's very specific for taking data and a description of the data and constructing an output data tree that's like information extracted from the input. So in my case, like the information we're extracting is like the overall structure, that this is an object, it's got 9 elements, here they are, right? So it's kind of hard for me to see how this specific task of extracting this data structure from these input bytes could be used in a general programming sense. But maybe, I mean, maybe I'm just not smart enough to see that. What does exponents for JSON numbers look like in this language? Did JSON numbers have exponents? Where did I put my browser? Oh, I rebooted since, so I need to look at, I need to open it again. So here's JSON. Oh, I didn't support that yet. I didn't realize that they had exponents and fractions. That's a good point. So I cheated and I'm just doing integers right now. And that's mostly because the sample that I picked didn't actually have an example of floating point in it. So yeah, it didn't have an example. So if we added something, what would we do? Like, if I say like favorite float is 3.1415926E1 or E0. I think my parser will choke on that now. I don't have an automatic reload if the data changes. I need to add that. Yeah, it choked that it couldn't parse something. Oh wow, it bailed all the way out? That might be because I was working on something else here. Or maybe not. Hold on, let me remove that line for a sec. Nope. So there are two problems. One is that it choked on the number, and the other one is that when it did, it completely abandoned the whole tree. I think actually that might be a bug. I need to go fix that. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I need to add that. Hey there, Oblivioner. So I don't forget, let me add that. Teach JSON parser to parse floating point numbers. Whoa, what happened? I don't know. There, now we won't forget. But yeah, let me get string working. So hopefully this will work. Otherwise, nope, unable to parse. So, it didn't like me doing plus equal. Is not quote actually returning a number? Oh, that's why. It needs to return the C. That's why. There we go. Hey, look, we got the strings working now. The name, first name, value John. Last name Smith, is alive, true. Favorite emoji. Why does that look like a blob? Doesn't it look like a blob? That doesn't look like a happy face. It's probably the font that is being used by eGUI. It makes it look like a little blob. Okay, cool. I like this. I'm thinking that like individual elements should get like name equals value or something like that, right? This is fine the way it is. So I don't forget it. Fix bug where JSON parsing problem causes entire tree to disappear. I think I have one notion about why. So the problem is when that is no longer parsable. Oh, actually, I see why. Because strings are in all the names of all the objects, so it won't be able to parse anything out of that, right? Let me add a more subtle error that maybe only affects number or something like that. Let's just say error. Well, no, it can't be in an alternate. So let me think about this. Value, object. How about we'll do this? We'll say if element dot value equals 27, then error found the 27. Then it should get down to that 27 in age. I see that it already there's so it is like not it should be listing all the way down to age and then not oh, I know why. Because it's value. If this is object, it would work because object is an optional part of value. But if we say it has to be an object, yeah, okay, then it does what I expected. This is what I expected, where it gets down to age 27 and says, "Oh, I can't. I have to stop," and then it marks the whole object as broken. Just thinking about one way I could work around this. I could do it where like instead of having an error, we do something else here. Like we have a node in the tree that represents there being an error, but it doesn't cause the parsing to stop. I think I have to think about that one later. Let's just fix this for now. Magically, it works again. Let's have the name value maybe have propagate the name out. So return name. So now when I open this up, I see the names. That's kind of cool. I like that. Oops. Roll that. Make this wider. I think I'm okay with the way this is. Maybe I move on from this. Who is this Rust developer? Which Linux is this? It's Xubuntu. OS. You made a tree structure like this once. Did I code it from scratch or did I use some lib? I couldn't find anything I liked, so I did it myself. I obsessed about making all the graphics look correct, even like on a Retina display and like the scaling. Let's see if I remember the scale. There we go. So like I tried to make it so that even if you upscale it like that, that it still draws correctly. I spent a lot of time on like dragging the header. I even made it so that if it's too big to show, that when you mouse over, you can see the whole value like that. So I spent a lot of time on this. This is written on top of eGUI. And eGUI is an immediate mode GUI library for Rust. I actually, before I did this program in Rust, I did it in C++ on Windows, and I had an MFC subclassed view that did the same thing. And it's based on something really old from Windows that had like a data tree like display like that I really liked. It is in a special crate I have called data tree. And the structure of it is you have columns. A lot of this is tracking whether or not you're dragging something, the current font, like all sorts of little minutia. But the actual data is stored under this rows by tokens, and a token is just an integer. And given a token, you can look it up in rows, and you can get the row, and the row has values. So these are the values to draw in each column. And then the children is how you associate a parent row to child rows. And then we track whether or not it's expanded, and also the total number of visible descendants, which is important for drawing like the little lines that go up and down. But yeah, all the exotic code is here in draw. So like, here's how we draw the line from parent to child. So we add a dotted line using the UI painter and eGUI, and like there's all these like all this madness about calculating and pixel alignment and all this junk that I obsessed over. I guess it's not too bad. It's 1,000 lines long. It's right at that cutoff where it's a little bit too long. But yeah, so it's in eGUI. So like you'll have responses like when you click on something, and you have to like you have to say, well, is the response what are the coordinates of where you clicked, and was it you have to do hit tests and stuff like that. Where is that done? Click result. Oh right, I have a visitor visit all the data things to see what do you actually click on. So in the visitor, it's calculating like the positions of things, I think. Oh no, it's just walking the data structure. The visitor itself is calculating like positions somehow. I think with this y coordinate. Yeah, as we're going down, we're adding a row number of pixels to y. This pause is where you clicked. Yeah, anyway. There's a lot of minutia went into that. Hey, there's someone 5209. Made one back in 2005 in Java and it still works fine. Nice. So back to do. So I should probably write this. This is because I make heavy use of alt, which now suppresses errors. So I'll have to decide what to do there. Teach JSON how to parse floating point numbers. Hey, let's do that next. So I added this favorite float thing, right? So let's make it work. Actually, let's do this with a different sample file. So what I'll actually just do is make a JSON file which just has that in it. Float.json. And it's just that number, right? And then what we'll do in json.toml, I'm going to save a copy of that. I thought there'd be like a clone. I guess I have to do copy paste and then rename the copy to JSON float. And here we're just changing this to number. And then I'll get rid of this line. And then when we run the GUI, I'm going to open config float JSON float toml. So now it's expecting it to be a number. So we'll open the data file, which is just a float. And now see, it says it's not a number, right? Not a number because it doesn't know what to do about the dots. So let's fix that. Yeah, we have to make number a little bit more complicated, don't we? Hey there, Sarian. How are you doing? Sarian is yet another person whose name is etched onto my keyboard's silk screen. All right. So I guess the alternates are digit and decimal point, but only the first one, right? So maybe bound decimal. Actually, what if we just have like different parts that we might go into, right? How does the, I guess I could just see how is it defined here. How is number defined? Yeah, so see how they have different loops you can go into? You can either have, okay, there's this, I have to remember there's the sign, the optional minus in front. And then you can either have 0 or the first digit has to be, so there's a lot of complicated things I need to do here. But one thing at a time, right? You'll get a bunch of the integer digits, and then when you see a dot, and then you go into another loop, and then you might have an E, and then you might have a plus minus, and then you go into another. So there's really 3-digit loops, whereas technically there's 4, but like there's 3 ones that are important here. And so instead of 1-digit loop, I need 3 of them, right? So we'll just call this integer part. I think I'm going to use look aheads. So look ahead UTF 8char next. If char, I'm going to actually leverage this char thing that I have now to do this break. Or I could have an inner loop. I could have an inner loop here, right? If I do it that way, then it's not a break. Here we have another loop, or we have a UTF-8char decimal point. And then we have a loop similar to this other loop here. Only indented a little bit more, and then we're going to have a decimal. What's the right way to do this as you're parsing decimals? It's a divider, right? Divisor. And you start it at 10, and you're multiplying by 10 each time, right? Is this file using a DSL? Yeah, this is. DSL. Okay, so there's no decimal point. I guess we're going to end up looking ahead again. And if it's an E, or capital E, then we're doing something else, right? And this we break out when we're done, and same thing here. So here we're not adding to the sum. We're not multiplying by 10. We're adding digit divided by divisor, and I need to make this D, built-in type D. And then divisor equals divisor times 10, right? So if the next is a decimal point, there's the decimal point. This divisor starts at 10. We break out if we see an E, or we break out if we don't see a digit. Either way, if we get a digit, we turn it into a decimal, divide by the divisor, add it to the sum, increase the divisor's magnitude, loop back, we'll eventually break out of the outer loop. I think this works. There's no decimal point here now. See what that does. Not a number. Not a number. Oh, did I not copy? No, I did copy that. Okay, then I don't understand what's going on then. Oh, there's a space in front. That's why. Ah, sabotaged by a space. Get rid of that space. And yeah, it's not going to reload, and so I'll have to do this myself. There we go. Okay. Cannot cast decimal to unsigned integer. I did that on line 153 for some reason. Oh, sum needs to be a float. Okay, so we have 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, 6. Okay. And we found the decimal point. And we stopped at the E. And there was no place where we actually... Okay, so I need to, like, if I wanted to see what that really looks like in the GUI, I need to add another level, right? Where was it? Float.json? No, it's... Let's say the root is number document, for lack of a better word. And then in here, I'll just say number document up top has a number in it. That way, it will actually give a node for the number and its overall value. I misspelled it. I did misspell it. Okay. There we go. We have decimals, so except for the exponent part. All right, so let me get the exponent part. Number. Number's getting quite complicated, isn't it? So the exponent. And then we're going to be building a EXP out of this, right? Another loop where we have digits in there. It has to be at least one digit, right? Oh, I'm also forgetting the sign things. I'll have to add that in a bit. Yeah, so we expect at least one digit. So first exp equals true. Numbers are hard, yeah. 10 EE2 should fail, yeah, because it should get down to here where I have a check. I'll just say bad exponent. It has to be a digit. If it's not a digit, it'll break out. It never set first exp to false, so this will still be true and it'll say bad exponent. So what do we do with the exponent? Something like this, right? exp is exp times 10.0 plus digit as a decimal. The reason I'm forming it as a decimal is because I'm going to, you know, I actually don't think, now that I think about it, I don't have, a way to do exponentiation to numbers in the language I have. Octal? Oh, 1.0 should also fail. Yeah, I don't. Right now it's being lenient about leading zeros. So like, I guess what I have is before the loop, I'd have a non-zero digit or something, right? I don't know. I don't want to get too wrapped up in this. I just wanted to have it work basically. So before we break out, it's going to be going to be sum equals sum, and this is where I don't have an exponent. I'd want to do something like hat, right? Really, it's times 10 to the XP. So actually, another way I could do this then is I can just make that an integer, and then I can just say for I equals 0, I is less than exponent, plus was I know the arcane way of doing the for loop is weird, but that's the way that's the way I chose to do it for for loops. It's just like that, right? All right, let me see if that works. Okay, so if I change, so there's the exponent. Yeah, the way this is going to break out is that 0 is the exponent. 0, right? But if I say like 10, now the exponent is 10. Oh, I need to reload it. Now the exponent will be buried in here somewhere. 1, 0. Okay, I didn't make it its own syntax or its own component, so it's just going to show up in the final value that it's times 10 to the 10. My cursor is hiding the 3. So if it was like 2, then it's 314. Okay. I think it's good enough. I'm not going to handle sign. Maybe I'll just leave a to-do list thing for this. So let's go back to normal JSON config. It just says that it's a number, right? And then open the sample JSON. And in there should be the age is the number 27. And now it holds it as a decimal, like it should. All right, so over to do. So I did this partially. I'm going to make another to-do list. JSON parser minutia. So sign for numbers. Sign for exponents. Numbers. Numbers cannot start with 0 unless exactly 0. What are the minutiae? So the sign on the exponent, the sign on the number, the 0 special case, right? Which is in two places. It's either exactly 0 or the digit can't start with 0. That's it, right? Oh, I also didn't do escape. I didn't do escape sequences and strings. What else did I not do here? I did all this. I can't read that because of the way it's coloring it. Is it over here? Technically, I covered more than 9A and D. Also, B and C are considered white space. I think I did everything else. Yeah, so those are the loose ends, the minutia. Loose ends. You can check for E twice rather than E and E. Oh, did I mess that up? I probably messed that up. Yeah, I messed that up. That should have been E. Thank you. I just copy pasted and moved on without thinking. Thank you, Ink Fours and Musin. Yeah, and I could probably I should probably restructure this too. Instead of having nested loops, I should probably just make them different format elements. So lean up, messy number syntax. I'll remember what that means. Okay. We did this. This is done. Okay, so I have the crash in this weird corner case. I have a couple parsers I wanted to do. Image visualizer, that's a whole another thing, another big stream, I think. Loose ends with JSON. I think I want to start the MVE parser because I told Quantum Apprentice I would start that. So Quantum Apprentice is another Twitch streamer, usually in the evenings. He likes to work on Fallout stuff, and also I think some other older Interplay games use this. It's the format that that they use to encode, like in some of these retro games, old encoding for videos. And he was doing vibe coding and getting I think Grok or Gemini or something to generate the code for him, and it was almost working. And I'm like, you know, this might be fun to see if how I would describe this format in my parsing language. So I think we're going to do that next. See a TS Just. Is it already late on the other side of the pond? It's like 1:30 here in the afternoon, so would that be like 10:30 or 11:30? Yep. Getting late. So back in our example land here, add a MVE.toml. Just copy from here. I think it's just going to be MVE. And we need a name for the top level, the root element. We'll just call it MVE. Okay, and then we're going to have another file called mve.fmt. And here's minimal, right? So that should actually work and just do nothing to the file. If I open config mve toml, now it's like, okay, I'm done. Let's open the data file. So I had, I think under stage, yeah, I had the logo for Interplay that I downloaded off their site. So here's what it looks like. There's the Interplay MVE, which they said we should see as the header. And indeed, I see that as the header here. File, okay. Right, so the header goes all the way down to there, right? Wait, why is there a 0? Oh, there's an extra 1A. So that's the header, right? Okay. I don't have escape sequences in my strings, and I'm wondering if now's a good time to add that. I think it would make it nicer because I could literally copy from here. I can say we expect that. So something like this, header, and header is expected equals that, and then we would say s sequence. The length is the length of expected. Actually, I don't remember if string length is in bytes or bits. I think it's in bits, and so that's exactly what we would want to see. And then we would say if sequence is not equal to expected, error, bad header. So, but this isn't going to work because my code doesn't understand escape sequences yet. It says bad string basically. We could see if the gist of that would work if I just drop that for now. That should at least parse the first few characters. Truncated last octet. Oh, I might have that wrong. It might be in bytes, not bits. So I would want to multiply by 8. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's sort of inconsistent, actually. Shouldn't my length always be in bits? I think it should be. I shouldn't have to multiply by 8. But see, now it actually sees the correct header, excluding the control characters. In the other format files, you have a leading dash. Oh, the leading dash is to ignore something. So, like, if I were to say, like, ignore the header, it'll still parse it, but it won't show up here anymore. That's mostly to keep the clutter out of the output tree. It parses it, it just doesn't tell you that it did. And it'll continue after that. So if I, like, say, like, UI next, the next 8 bits, you should see the next 8 bits actually going to be the byte after that header. The other thing you can do is a plus, which is a look ahead. So now it'll look ahead and parse the header, but now it rewinds back to the first byte. So that's useful for, like, peeking and seeing if something matches, and then but then rewinding back. It's like ignore, only we rewind back. Yeah, so it's been added to the syntax out of necessity, because lots of formats do that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I do want to, I want to do 2 things actually. I think I want to change the length of strings so that it does it in bits. And then I want to add escape sequences to strings. For now, you can do header with string, and then yeah. So if I wanted to, I would. This is what I can do. I added that new thing, right, where you can add codes to it. I can add the character code for 1A, and then add the character code for 0, and that's going to match the whole header. Look at that. So that works. It's just printing it funny because it's a non-printable character, the 1A. But yeah, it's close enough. Oh, that's another thing probably. We should probably avoid printing the non-printable characters. We should probably turn them back into escape sequences, right? Let me put this in my to-do before I forget. There's like 3 things we want to do, right? I have the tendency to just march ahead and not write things down. So 3 things were len of string should return bits, not bytes. Add escape sequences to literal strings. And then in the GUI, we want to turn non-printable string characters back into escape sequences. There we go. We got 3 things to do. And I messed up and took all the createds and joined them together. There we go. The Rust side escape, debug, escape, Unicode, escape default on both char and string, which would give you something to show in eGUI. Oh, cool. Well, thanks, Musen. So we can probably get this to work right away. Yeah, let's try that since Musen, the Rust god, has already given me 3 different ways to solve this. One of font, I am using Furacode. I like Furacode because it has support for these ligatures, like the equals and the less, greater than, less than. Some people like them, some people don't. I kind of like them. Okay, let me think about this. Test-driven development. It's in the GUI. Actually, the GUI, I have a rule which, for better or for worse, is that I don't bother about making tests for GUI things. I think I'm just gonna put it in the GUI. So where exactly would that be? That would be in data tree, actually. When we're drawing rows, draw row text with columns. Draw row column. Okay, there's where we do the tooltip if it's too big. Row column is the actual text. Okay, so here it is. So, according to Musen, I can do, let me look it up. Saying it's escape. Escape? Let's look up escape Unicode. Yield hexadecimal value, escape as characters, escape. Well, we don't want to do it for every character, right? How do we do it with just the non-printables? You do toString on it and get the string representation out of it? Only TUI tests? Yeah, I just feel that like UIs are just interfaces and they should be thin anyway. And most of the minutia in UIs is to actually display, and you can test just by looking at it. Okay, normally you do escape default to string. This is escape default. Oh, I see. Not escape. So this is the one we want. So escape Unicode would be if I wanted to escape everything, right? Yeah, this is exactly what I want. So I want escape default, and it's going to give me an iterator, so I just do a toString on it, right? Okay, cool. Hey, that was easy. Let's see what it did. Oh, I have to quit it and then open it again. It's easy because Musen is here to teach us how to do it. Taking a long time to build. Okay, there. Segmentation fault. What? It didn't like this. Why might it not have liked it? Am I using that for something else? Why would we get a core dump there? I just ran it again and it just worked. What the heck? Okay, so it escaped my quotes. So if I don't want it to escape the quotes, I would want to take the slice out of that, right? Yeah. I'm kind of picky. If I don't want to escape double quotes, what would I do? I guess I'd have a special case, right? Let displayed row column. If row column begins with or starts with that and ends with it. That's probably an easier way to do this. Do it one way, otherwise do it another way. So here I will take skip 1. How do you take all but the last? Well, I guess it'd probably be easier to just do I keep hitting the wrong key. 1 to row column length -1. Something like that. Yeah, I wonder why I got a segmentation fault running it, and then I just ran it again and it worked. Maybe it has to do with the other weird things I'm seeing in the VM. Oh, I forgot to put the quotes back on. I guess it would be format. Like that. There's got to be an easier way. That looks just messy. Something like to trim. There's got to be a convenience method to trim off the double quotes. If it works, we take it. Yeah, it's just the GUI anyway. That's good enough. I mean, it's doing sort of like a more, what do you say? Like a more verbose escape sequence style of U and then brackets. It could have just did a \0, I guess, but that's fine. That does the Rust styling. If you want ASCII style, the slice can be escape ASCII. But yeah, but yeah, we do want to have like emoji support. So I think I'm okay with this. It's better than it was where it was non-printable and showing the non-printable square thingy. Yeah, so that's the more verbose, right? The more verbose way of doing it. Okay, anyway, thank you for that, Musin. I can mark that off the list then. Done. Okay, escape sequences. This will be fun. This is in my Lexer, and I have hardly any unit tests there because it's pretty simple. Where are my tests? I think they're here. Well, maybe I have a fair amount. So let's find the test for parsing strings. Okay, here's a bunch of unterminated strings. Multi-line string. Here's some string tests. Oh no, this whole thing is string tests. Sorry. We have an emoji. We have unterminated, multi-line, octal at end. Wait, I do have escapes? I didn't think I had escapes. Okay, apparently I do. I didn't know I did. Oh no, these are just like allowing them in, I guess. But they're, oh no, no, it does work. It should still work. Well, wait. Why did I think it didn't work then? What led me to believe it didn't work? I think I was looking at this and I didn't see how it worked, but actually I see that rule now. It just doesn't support the \u thing. It supports backslash and then a single character. Then what's the stuff about hex tab, hex with letter? I don't get it. How would that actually work here? Wouldn't that just match \x and then move on? Oh, wait. I think I see the problem. Those are raw strings, right? No, they're not raw strings. How is that test actually passing? I know it's passing, because when I run it, it passes. But how is that passing? Yeah, good job, pass self. But how did this actually work? I'm missing something. I didn't think I did any post processing, but maybe I do. It's just out. Wait, what's this used in? Oh, you're right. Here it is. We found it. We do post processing of string. How does that work? Oh, it's if you have this optional argument to regex, it does post processing on it using that function. Okay, so I found it. Past self did think of this, and I did it with one of those ugly state machines that I like to do in the past where like state 0 means we're not escaping, state 1 means we found the backslash, state 2 means we found a backslash and a character, and then we have the 2-character variant, and then we have an X, and we have an X with some hex digit. Okay, so it doesn't support the U variant, but it supports the X variant. Does that mean I should be able to, here, I should be able to say X1A 0. That should work, right? No, it didn't. Bad string. It doesn't like my string. Maybe it's this 0 thing. What if I do that? Oh, that worked. Cool. So it didn't like backslash 0. Probably because I chose not to support that here. I could add it. Literally, like, if it's a backslash and then exactly 0, right? Yeah, see, it's expecting if there's a backslash and a digit that there are going to be 2 of those digits right now. Oh, because it's octal. Oh, why did I do that? Why did I do octal escapes? That's funny. Why would I do octal escapes? I don't know. Wait, why is it to digit 10 and then it's to digit 8? That should be 8, shouldn't it? That looks like a bug to me. The 2 means it's 0 to 7, but digit to 10 means like if we do a backslash 8, it would accept it. I think I found a bug just by inspection here. Rediscovering past decisions. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the first things I did in this project in Rust is make Lexer part. So really, I need to have a test for that as an invalid string, right? Invalid octal. Yeah, see, I don't have an invalid octal. Good, I do have a bad octal. The bad octal is 300. Let's have 2 different bad octals. 8 0. Right? How does it detect the 300 as bad? Is that overflow? Wait. Oh, this 300 would do what? 3 0 0. I mean, what would the as wouldn't return an error. How do I expect this to work? Hey there, Nightshade dude. Maybe do with hex nibbles. Yeah, I was thinking like maybe this is just like, I don't know where I got this from. But anyway, like how does that get detected as bad? So it sees backslash, right? Well, first it goes to 0 and it sees backslash, goes to state 1. The next character is going to be a 3, so it goes down to here, goes to state 2, the code is going to be 3, right? And this is wrong, but we'll get there. So The next state, it'll see a 0. Going to multiply 3 by 8 and add 0. Go to state 3. Then it's going to get another 0. Maybe 3 times 64 plus 0. Push out that code. Go back to state 0. I don't see how it would be an error. I don't see how that would ever have worked. Unless, is this out a vector of bytes? Oh, it's not Unicode. It's an invalid Unicode character. Okay, so it's an error for the wrong reason. So that means this will also work, just because it's not Unicode. For I need to give it a different name. Bad octal digit. Bad octal leading digit. This is bad octal out of range. I believe this is. I know this is it succeeds. Multiply with overflow. Okay. So it didn't catch it in time. It overflowed. So why? So this one succeeds because it doesn't overflow. Oh, I get it. Okay, it's not that it's bad octal. It's that it is not. It's not out of range. It's bad octal, not UTF-8. That's what it is. Yeah. So this test is failing for a good reason. We need to have a check to make sure the 8 is rejected. This one was testing something different than what I thought. This is actually a valid octal code, but it's not a valid UTF-8 byte. So this needs to be caught in a different way. Right now it's panicking on overflow. Actually, then I should have another test just for overflow, right? Something like can't do the math in my head. What is 255 in octal? 377. So if I did like 400, that's a definite overflow, but so that's out of range. So that's technically a correct octal, but it doesn't fit in a byte. This will also overflow, right? Yeah, panic, attempt to multiply with overflow. So yeah, so we need to fix both tests. So one thing, so let's fix the overflow first, I guess. That would be on this third digit here, right? Code is what type? U8, okay. I guess we're doing checked multiply, 16. Map error. Wait, what is checked multiply? Returns, oh, I can't read that. It returns an option, so it would be okay or, right? Bad string. And then, do we have to do a checked add, right? okay or bad string. All right, so then this should pass now, right? Should detect that. To detect that, it still has a problem. On 159. Oh, it overflowed on the second digit right away. Oh, did I put it in the wrong place? I put it on the hex. Duh. 8 in octal is invalid, yeah. So I put the stuff in the wrong place. Checked all 8. Okay or bad string. I don't think I need to actually check here. I don't think it's ever going to overflow here. Checked add of this. Okay or bad string. And then, yeah, this is just plus equals this. I don't think I need to check here either. Okay, that passes. This is still going to... Oh, that should not have passed. This one should not have passed. Oh, I guess I need to make it where it's... Oh, it's a bad string for a different reason, right? So maybe I don't need... Maybe it doesn't need to be an 8. Even if it accepts a base 10, like an 8 or a 9, it's going to overflow anyway, right? Well, so there's really no way for me to tell the difference between an overflow and a bad digit right now. Unless I made the error a distinct type, like bad octal digit or something. I could do that, right? Can I just add something here? Bad octal digit, just for testing. And then I would just map it like this. Bad. Yeah, that works. And then I can just, in the test, I can look for something very specific. Unless it's post conversion. It is post conversion. Dang it. Yeah, because what this does is it runs it through the lexer. So it's this, even if we used back octal digit, it'll get forced back unless I make another type here at the top of token, which I guess I could. Do I really care? I don't think I care. You know what? I'm just gonna say it's bad either way. Don't need to worry about it. And I'll just silently just go in here and where is it? With no one really looking too closely, I'm just gonna fix it so that it's an 8, like it should be. Nothing you can see here. Does language support run length encoding? It should, yeah. I did LZW decoding. It's not in the language directly, but I'll show you how I did it in the GIF. Not in this one. The other one. So, because you can parse the number of bits to parse, you can control it at runtime. And I do that where? Here. If you have the number of bits to parse in a variable, then you can adjust that however you want programmatically as it's parsing. And so you could just parse individual bits even in a loop and stop whenever you want. So it would be crude, but you can do it bit for bit run length encoding. But I don't have anything built in to do this like intrinsically. But I think I have enough building blocks so you can do it bit for bit. Yeah, I mean, it's not too much ceremony. The only tricky thing here is there's the special case for if the first code is the length of the table, then you have to do something a little bit different. And you increase the code size right before it's tricky between the decoder and the encoder. The code size increases at a specific point, and you have to do it at just the right time. But yeah, whenever that increases like that, then the next code you're going to actually parse one more bit than you did the previous time. Yeah. There's other weird things like I have to do this because this is actually an intrinsic function, but I kind of wanted to call its generated output the same thing, and yeah, it's a little weird. Forget you saw that. Okay, so technically I didn't need to do this, so I'm gonna mark this as cancel. I'm gonna say I already supported escape sequences, just not all the kinds that Rust supports. Only backslash 0 to 7. The exact syntax is like this. 3 octals. 0 to 9, A to F, A to F2, and common codes like \n. Okay, length of string should return bits, not bytes. That is so that I don't need this multiply by 8 thing, right? There would be a test for length, I think. No. So where would it be? Length? Okay, I don't remember. Okay. Suggestions or tests. Maybe string. Ah, yeah. String probably has a test for string length. Yes, string length. Okay. Yeah, so this is expecting 15 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, it's actually counting characters, not bytes. 15 characters. But really, I think it makes more sense to count bytes, right? Maybe we'd have another built-in for character count. Graphemes, technically. Yeah, I'm not trying to get too technical. I get them confused too, like code point versus character versus grapheme. Like, it just kind of leaks out of my brain fast. So this is really like, this is probably 4 bytes. I think I want to make it consistent with Rust anyway. And if you do length on a string, you get the number of bytes. So it would not be 15, but 3 more than that, right? 18. So right now it fails because it still says 15. Then I want to bookmark that. Maybe clean up some of my old bookmarks. Do I need this one? Wrong one anyway. There was hex. I did hex instead of decimal. Accident. Okay, so I'm going to go to context. Because here's the built-in length. Just as length. Okay, so if you have an argument, and the argument is not a vector, then look at its type. Okay, here we go. String chars count. So I just do len, right? That should fix it. Oh, I need it to be bits. I said that earlier and I forgot. So should be in bits. Because my parser is biased towards counting things in bits, not bytes. So run all the tests again. So now we can just say the length, and it's consistent. That's the biggest reason I want length to return bits is because in the syntax where you bound parsing, it's bound by number of bits, not bytes. Three-hour mark almost. Well, maybe another hour. But after that, I'm gonna lose my voice. So. A scalar is a copoint which makes up a grapheme, which makes it a visible character, which can be composed of grapheme clusters. Yeah, see, that's what does not stay in my brain. It leaks out. UTF-8 is kind of annoying because it's so hierarchical. But yeah, bytes is best for length because JSON uses UTF-16 strings, which is also different from UTF-8. You mean like UTF-8 surrogate pairs? Because I remember reading that here. So it's encoded in UTF-8, but if escape, the characters must be written as surrogate pairs. So if you escape the emoji, it has to be UTF-16 surrogate pairs, right? Yeah. Remember reading that. Cool. So we have the header sequence. Great. Let's move on. Did that. Back to MVE parser. Okay. Fun stuff. What comes next after the header? All values are little endian unless otherwise specified. Okay, so we're probably going to want to run our parser in little endian mode. 001A. Yeah, it is little endian. So let's switch it. And we're going to read file format version a magic number. Or parameters. So we just call them magic or something. Like magic 0, 1, and 2. Yes. And we're gonna do mode NVN equals little. I think that's what I decided to do. Yeah. That's a very special syntax with a reserved word that controls the behavior of the parser so that the order of bits in the byte is now little endian, so that I can say, what does it call it? It calls it a bunch of words. I guess we'll just say magic 3 words. I realize I'm typing in the wrong spot. I'll just move it. There's a header, then there's the magic 3 words. Magic 0 UI 16. Just keep it simple. Here are the magic 3 words: 26, 256, 4403. Immediately following this are the chunks. Each chunk consists of a word giving the total length of the data contained in the chunk, and another word which represents the type of the chunk. After these 4 bytes, which are not included in the chunk length, chunk data. Okay, so it's like length, type, and then data. And I'm guessing the chunks just repeat. So we would have like loop chunk. Or really while remaining greater than 0 chunk. Then chunk is length. Type. And then I guess we will have our switch statement, so to speak, here. Let's just have data for now. Bits as bits. Which is like a placeholder for it's just a bunch of junk and we're going to skip it. That's length times 8, right? Because it's in bytes. I'm guessing so. Let's see if that parses. We have 398 chunks. Did it indeed go all the way down to the end of the file? Cool. So right away you can see like we successfully parsed out that there are 398 chunks in the file. Nice. Now we don't know anything other than that there's bits there. That's our next step. So we have a type 2 chunk followed by a type 0, a type 1. So just for fun, let's return the type so that we can see it in the main list here. So we have, these are the types of the chunks. There's a 2, 0, a bunch of 1s, and a bunch of 3s, and then there's a 4 and a 5. Uh-oh. I did something and the program froze. Sure, terminate it. I don't know what happened there. What did I do? Did I click on a chunk? I don't know what I clicked on to make it pose. Maybe I'll have to go back at the VOD and see what exactly did I do to get the program to lock up. Anyway. What's next? The type of the chunk, I'm guessing, is the opcode. No. Oh, I see. There are only 6 types of chunk. Initialize audio, audio only chunk, initialize video, video chunk, shutdown chunk, end chunk. Wait, how did they go from chunk to opcode? I missed that part. Variable size chunk. Each stream chunk consists of a word giving the length of the chunk, and another giving the type, followed by a stream of 1 or more stream opcodes. I see. So within a chunk, there might be multiple opcodes. So we're going to have a loop inside of that thing. So each opcode is a 2-word count for the length of the opcode, a single byte for the type, and a single single byte to be a version number, and then variable data depending on the type of opcode. Okay. So then yeah, right here. So it's a loop again. UI opcode. They said it's 8, right? No, it's length first and then a single byte type. What if we just say opcode? And this can't just be a loop, it has to be while. Oh, I'm gonna do a bounded region. Do I do a bounded region again? I already forget my own language. Bounded region, where are you? Ah, like that. Okay. Within a bounded region of a length times 8, we do this. Remaining greater than 0. Opcode. Opcode is, again, a length and a type, but the type is 8 bits, right? What I remember. Tinspin, we're back to parsing binary because JSON's done. We are done. The only things I had left on JSON were some loose ends, like some stuff with numbers, escape sequences, and strings. And I decided I was just gonna move on. Wait, what just happened? I don't know. Okay, opcode, length, and then it's the same kind of thing, right? Where we have like some kind of bits. Length times 8. Well, there's a single byte, which is a version. And let's return the type. Okay. All right, so we have our chunk, and within our chunk we have opcodes, and there are our first 4 opcodes. Sweet, and then the next byte is going to be the length of the next chunk. Cool, so now we're parsing opcodes out of the chunks. Let's do a little bit of interpretation of the chunk type. So if type equals 0, turn, get a list, right? Initialize audio. Else if type equals, and before you scream at me, why don't you have a match or a switch? It's because I didn't bother. Audio only chunk. 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Initialize video. Video chunk. Shut down and end. Oh, let's have a catch-all where we actually do an error. Unknown chunk type. Cool. Hey, look at that. We have initialized video, audio, a bunch of audio only chunks, and then a bunch of video chunks, and then a shutdown and an end. Sweet. Okay, opcodes between 0 and 15 hex. Current opcode in, I think that's Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 2 uses 0 through 11. Okay, so 0 is end of stream. 10, 5, 12, and 1. Initialized video mode is 10. What's 5? Initialized video buffer. 12 and 1. 12 is C. Set palette, and then 1 is end of chunk. Okay, so if every chunk ends in a 1 opcode, we can use that instead of the remaining. Yeah, that's. You want a real life example JSON to test it? I do. Already have one. A real life JSON. Do you mean like a really long one? I just used the one from Wikipedia. This one. And I added favorite emoji to it. I just wanted to use it as an example to stress the parser a little bit. I think once I have the loose ends tied up, yeah, then we want to give it like a stress test, right? Yeah. Rust used to have an unstable flag everybody loops, which makes all function bodies into loop. I think it's very prescient about how programs are structured and ran. Everybody loops and every body is a loop. that sounds hilarious. Everything is a loop and you just have to return or break out of it. Japanese there for fun. I will grab the file. Oh, that's not that big. I don't see Japanese. Oh, I do see Japanese in there. Okay, let's make another sample 2.json. Paste it there. Wait, I can quickly see what it does. So open config JSON and then open data. Gotta go to examples sample 2. Oh no, it broke. You broke it. What's wrong with this that might have broken it? It didn't like something in here. I mean, it doesn't look that bad. You don't have any exotic things I don't sport. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe doing something. Well, I think it would have said if something was wrong here, right? Let's cut it down a little bit and see what's going. Wait, what? Well, that goes with that. Okay, so then I can cut there, right? Nope. So it's within this first one then. Out of curiosity, I'm wondering if it's that body string. Okay, it was okay with this one. List element object. Wow, this is really deeply nested. Look how nested this is. So it didn't like that first string body. Something in there it didn't like. Is it just the escape sequences? Oh, right. I forgot about that. I forgot to put that on my list. Oh no, I didn't forget. Yeah, so we can't parse your thing yet because it's got escape sequences and strings. But like for the meantime, I can take what you originally had and just remove the escape sequences, and it should work. There are a lot of them. Okay, what other escape sequences? So you have those. Let's just put a space in there. And ends, also put a space in there. Okay. I bet it'll be able to parse this because there are no string escape sequences. Yeah. So we're cool. So I can click anywhere in here and get, wow, that's so nested. Jeez. It's so nested it scrolls all the way to the right. Look at that. Jeez. Okay. It's so big I have to actually whoop, wrong one. I have to actually hide my log window so I can see the depth of it. Yeah. New line characters, character turns, and quoted string, escaped string quotes. Don't support that yet. Yeah, so we can parse it as long as I avoid escaped sequences. But man, is that a deeply nested JSON object? It's a list containing an object containing a list containing an object containing a list containing an object containing a list object list object object string. We parse your animated GIF. Yep, could probably still do that, and I can actually get pixels out of it now. I'm gonna keep that in there because that's gonna be a good. Whoop. Oh. I want to be able to parse that later, so we're gonna keep your example for now. Yeah, we can go back to GIF. Watch this. GIF toml. Open data. Was yours like the monsters GIF, Tinspin? Yeah, we can get pixels out now. The only problem is very large GIFs take a long time to parse now, because it does all the LZW decoding. Maybe while we let that run... Oh, it's done. I don't have to do anything while I let it run, because it's done already. Yeah, so the individual frames now, we can see the image data. I don't have a visualizer other than that. Come on, 715209. It's parsing every single bit and doing LZW decompression and everything. Yeah, so the only thing I'm missing from the GIF is an actual like image visualization of this. So right now it's just showing you the raw table indices to use to pick out the colors from the palette to draw on every column and row, right? Or if you prefer, you can see the original input sequence. There are 22,622 tokens in the input sequence. It's actually really slow. So this hex header on the left is no longer the original GIF. It's actually the reconstructed LZW input bitstream. So yeah, the last thing I would do is have a visualizer for the output. Made with screen to GIF. Oh, your secrets are revealed, Tinspin. It's actually the first time I've seen that kind of extension. So it's a comment extension. Interesting. There's this size bits. Here we go. Made with screen to GIF. Okay, so let's close this. Close that. Open MVE again. Open config MVE toml. I wanted to interpret the opcodes next. Oh, before I do that, if you're interested in the LZW decompression, it actually almost fits on one screen. Here's where we're reading a code in, and then we're handling the clear code, the end of information code, and then this special case where the next code is just added to the table. And here's where we increase the table, the code size, because the table fills up to 2 to the power of the previous code size. And the way the decompression works is the input, you take the input token, the output token becomes you take the input token and you look it up in the decoder table to get the next, and then that is 1 or more pixels, and so that's sort of like length encoded in a way. Like the table entries can be more than 1 byte, and that's where we dump all the bytes out. Consider making a GIF streaming service. Too much work for now? Oh, like to go from other formats to GIF? Yeah. Okay. I kind of want to do the same thing here, where instead of returning the type, we say if type is 1, return. Gotta look it up now. Opcode 0, end of stream. And ultimately we'll have like unknown opcode. It's gonna get a little tedious, right? 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where AI would maybe help me. I would say AI, just generate all the cases from 0 to 15 hex, and it would just type all this stuff in. I'm switching to hex here because the documentation is in hex, and then it's just easier for my brain. I could do a little of this with multi-cursor magic like this. I should have just did that from the start, right? Okay, now to fill in the strings. End of chunk. Create timer. Initialize audio buffers. By the way, I haven't done this in a while. I should really do this a lot. I need to send a copy of the changes I made out of the virtual machine. So I don't lose it if my virtual machine gets hosed. Okay, for start stop audio. You made an else if one keyword? Yep, I did. The reason for that was it can't be anything other than another condition. Can I show you the grammar? The way I wrote the grammar for conditional. Conditionals. So conditionals are, there's the if keyword. If I did an else, and then I could have done an else, but then you have to do an if, and I'm like, why have 2 tokens when 1 suffices? Because you can't have, with an else, you can't have anything other than an if or a block. You can't say like else return. There's no 1 line. I don't support 1 line conditionals. they're always braced, bracketed or whatever. So because they're always braced or bracketed, that means else always has to be followed with either another if or a brace. And I'm like, oh, I'll just collapse them together. Else block, and then you put an if in block. Well, the last one has an else by itself, but it's like these intermediate ones. I could have done it either way. I'm like, why have 2 tokens when I can have 1? I mean, I could change it. It's super easy. I would just turn it into 2 tokens, and in the grammar, I would just say, hey, you got to have 2 tokens there now. Done. Unless maybe there's some kind of shift reduce problem, because it could either be an if or it could be a brace, depending on if it's the last in the chain. How do I do the last in the chain anyway? I think I'd do it up here. It's the otherwise. Otherwise is an op else. So you either have nothing or you have an else, and then so the else is a special dangling case. Oh, that's true. I could have it that way too. I could have else, and then it would just nest ugly in a very, very ugly way. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the nesting. Let's stop audio. Initialize video. Type 6 unknown. Because this is reverse engineered by someone. Send buffer to display. Type 8 audio frame. Data audio frame silence. Handwritten parsers? Do you mean like handwritten with the help of a parser generator, like Lollipop, or do you mean handwritten like manually write all the shift reduce stuff? Yeah, I use Lollipop. I know that it should prevent shift reduction conflicts in that stuff, but I screw it up. I screw stuff up all the time when I modify this, and I cause my own grief and suffering with shift reduce. So inevitably, even if Lollipop should prevent it, I'll probably do it anyway. Opcode 9. Oh, we already did that one. A is initialize video mode. B is rate gradient. C, set palette. D, set compressed. Set palette entries compressed. E is 3 question marks. F is set decoding map. I'm faithfully reproducing the article on Multimedia CX. 10 is we don't know. 11's video data. 12 is not observed and not used. I'm going to say unknown for these. So these are all like unknown or unobserved. What if I include the opcode number in the string? There we go. Okay, so Are computers hard? Yes, I guess you're right. Computers are hard. Cool. I think it's working. So we're starting to see like that that the stuff makes sense when you pull out certain things. So first we have an initialized video chunk, mode buffer, set palette, and then there's end of chunk. Then we have audio where it's initialized audio buffers, end of chunk. Then we have some audio frame and silence. So there's like an audio only intro before the video starts, I guess. And then we have our first video where we create a timer, create a decoding map. Then we have some audio that goes with it, I guess, and there's some video, there's some kind of unknown chunk. Said 13 was always 84 bytes of data. It kind of looks that way, right? Again, I'm regretting my choice of printing it in decimal, but yeah, that's 84, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's 84 in hex bytes. Should compile this to WASM and host it on a site. Love to use a tool like this. I mean, it should be possible because I don't think I use any crates that require native, so there would be a little bit of difference in that I wouldn't be using. Well, does WGPU? I wouldn't be using WinIt, right? But WGPU supports WASM. I think all this other stuff is probably browser okay. Except for like sled. I'd have to replace certain things that are tied to native code, right? Like WinIt, right? Yeah, eGUI works on the web. I don't know about eGUI. We wouldn't use eGUI Win and WinIt. We'd use something else, right? But yeah, you'd E-frame for easier eGUI in browser. Yeah. So I'm kind of stuck with my choice of eGUI because I've written a whole bunch of junk on top of it. This is all custom drawn in eGUI. This is all custom drawn in eGUI. Even this is. So can't move away from that. But as far as I know, the eGUI demo itself runs on the web, so this should work, right? Use web storage to keep the scripting persistent. Yeah, the only thing I use sled for is to store to remember which data file, which config file to load from on disk. So that code would have to change a little bit where I guess you have to drag and drop a file on there, or you can allow a web app to pick a local file, but it like pulls a copy in to the browser or something like that, right? So the E-frame would replace the W in it. Is that how it works? Yeah, something like that. So hey, why don't we make that a to-do list item? Get everything running in the browser. One thing that's kind of scary to me is I've already had people who watch the stream chat with me in Discord or elsewhere and say, hey, can I buy this from you? We could really use this and here and there. I'm like, this is my hobby, man. I want to sell it maybe in the future, but I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to give away rights. And if it was on the web, I don't know if that would end up causing me to give up rights for over it. So we're hiding this, right? Yeah. Create timer, set decoding map. All right, the unknown thing, we've figured out what it was. Start, stop audio, send buffer to display, end of chunk. So if everything ends with, if every chunk ends with an end of chunk opcode, then I can maybe remove this while remaining. And we can just say opcode. And then if, actually, you know what? Probably I don't even need, I think it will naturally terminate once it uses all the bits. Let me see. No, it does not. It went all the way to the end. Okay, yeah. Is that because there are no opcodes in an end chunk? Yeah, okay, so there has to be like, wait, if that's 0, yeah, length 0, I'd have to have a conditional, right? If length is greater than 0. Actually, now that I think about it, do I want to have to do that? Or should I make length of 0 automatically be a no-op? Let me make that as a to-do to consider. Consider bounded block with a 0-bit constraint. Consider making a bounded block with 0-bit constraint a no-op. Do not attempt to parse anything in it. Because it sort of makes sense that if you have like a 0-length block, that you don't even need to go into it. So this is just going to prevent me from trying to go into a 0-length block. Yeah, so what do I have all these warnings are old, right? No. We actually are skipping bits. Oh, because I needed to have a loop here, right? Didn't I? Yeah. Wait. It's gonna hit the upper bound in error if I do that. Yeah. Instead of skipping extra bits, it's gonna be like, yeah, bound is passed. Okay, yeah, I can't do it that way. So another way would be to do it this way. Bounded thing, and then we say while. This is what I started with? That might be what I started with. Back to what I started with. What was I going with that? I think it was that we can break if the opcode is an end of chunk. That's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Opcode. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to interpret the bits. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to do all of the opcodes. I'm going to do an interesting one and then call it a day, I think. So let's look for one that's kind of interesting. Aha. Video buffer width and height. Let's do that. Opcode 5. So, I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to say, for all the types, the default is to do that. Actually, I can do this a little bit more intelligently. We looked at the fits format? No. Let me add it to my list. Look into fits format. Reddit. I will add that to my to-do list. I was thinking that if I just say if type equals 5 else, and then put all the unfinished ones inside there, and then I can I deleted it already, but yeah, here I can just say bits length times 8, right? And then this has This I should move up here. And don't need this case anymore. So nothing's broken. So now this is, I would replace this with actually parsing the thing. DS9 is a typical viewer for fits and it's open source, you think, in C? Hey there again, Red Rampage Carpet. Nearing the end of my stream, I think. I think I'm gonna in general keep stuff under 4 hours until my voice strengthens up again. Okay, so there's it depends on the version. If version is 0, my bad typing skills, showing them off again. I guess what we'll do here is just error. Unknown video buffer initialization chunk version, opcode version. Okay, so if it's version 0, word width, so width and height. Version 1 has a count, maybe. Version 2 has a true color, whatever that is. All right. See if that worked. So we're looking for initialized video buffers opcode. Here it is. Width 52 by 40. I guess those are in chunk widths and heights, like, so it's times 8 or something, right? Yeah, 8 by 8 pixel blocks. Someone needs to verify though. Hope someone did verify. Both are given in terms of pixels, but I know the image is bigger than 54 by 40. I think they're both multiplied by 8. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that was too easy. Let me pick a different one. What's one that's fun? How about the resolution? That's easy. So that's A. I'm just going to pull the whole thing out as is, like this. And unindent it. And then X resolution. Y resolution. And then flags. Or what's in a flags. Okay, working for video mode. Here it is, the first one. So X resolution 640 by 480. And we don't know what the flags are. Usage of the flags apparently largely historical. Maybe used with direct X. BG, this entire opcode turns into a no-op. I was right. Yes, Mr. Balrog. I was right. 9th letter of the alphabet. Oh yeah, 11 is the really fun one, right? That's the one where it has its own section. It's the big killer opcode. Yeah, when we actually want to plot it on the screen, we're going to need to dig into that one. One have a gradient in it? Coding map, audio. Huh, stuff. Well, I mean, I think I'm happy with this so far. Just it's gonna get into the minutia of this format. I think what I want to do before I get further with MVE is I want a video or image display visual image visualization. So that was on my to-do list here somewhere. Add image type or visualizer for color tables or images. I think I want to work on that next. That'll be fun because that's more graphic stuff. Oh, the other thing I could work on, I need to make the parsing asynchronous so that the UI doesn't freeze while it's parsing something really big. And also some of the stuff is like pausing and resuming and also skipping things and parsing them later. Like that. Got a lot of to-do list items. So it's always a successful day when you end up with more unfinished to-dos than you started with. And we're now down to 78% complete. So we're doing our job, creating to-do list items. Adam would be proud. Before I forget again, let's send this out of the virtual machine so I don't lose it. What's the to-do plugin? I think it's to-do plus. Yeah, to-do plus, this one. I kind of like it. It can see to-do thing files, and also it can there's a thing here where it can find to-dos in your code, so I can like go back and find where I've written to do this and that, or fix me's, or hacks, or notes. Here's a note somewhere. A note. Whenever I said the word note, it finds a note section. Kind of useful for that too. Yeah, the I don't have it set up, but you can have it set up where when you're done with something, it actually archives it and either deletes it, moves it to another file, or moves it to a special archive section. So it can keep your unfinished ones at the top or something like that. And you can also set up like categories. So I can say like category 1, do this, do that. And I think in the file outline, it'll show it. Yeah. So it becomes like collapsible sections. Actually, my face is covering it, so you can't see it. What if I move it over to the left? If I move that over to the left? Forgot how to do that. Ah, left. There, now you can see it. So make these collapsible. Oh, but now my mouse has a no-go zone. Anyway, you get the idea. The plugin is pretty neat. I think the timestamps are an optional thing too. I kind of like it because I can see, how long ago did I? It's like, well, back on New Year's Day, I thought about adding buttons to navigate errors. I think it's just not really useful beyond like satisfying your curiosity about how long something's been open. Let me put that back on the right. Yeah. I'm getting tired, so this has been about 4 hours. Good stopping point. maybe I should show this running again. So now we're able to, I'm going to tell Quantum Apprentice this. He's been working on parsing this using vibe coding, having an AI generated decoder. So definitely check out his stream. Quantum Apprentice. And my shout out doesn't work? Oh, because it's a command. So he is making an AI version of a parser for this format, and the AI is generating everything, including a video display visualization, so you can actually see the video playing. I'm interested more in the technical, bits and bytes of it, and he's more into the vibe coding. But I'm going to send him what I came up with just in case he's curious. And so I did that today, and the other thing I did was I can't even click there anymore. If I move it over here, I can though. Almost finished up JSON format. So if I load the JSON config and I open a sample JSON file from the examples. What? It's broken. Did I break the file somehow? I broke the file. I broke it. Okay, well it was working. Maybe I'll try to fix that first thing next stream. But I taught my parser how to parse the MVE format, JSON, and GIF. So it's got 3 different formats that it supports, theoretically, if I didn't break it. I'm wondering, what did I do? 240? Did I like type an errant character in here somewhere? What did I do here? I don't know what I did. Did I mess up the top of it? I did add number document, but that shouldn't have messed anything up. It beats me what I did, but I broke something. I'll have to figure it out next time. Okay, so there's one guy that I follow who is streaming software and game development, and he rated me yesterday, so we're gonna go raid him. It's Mr. CM Griffing. So hope you have a great rest of your day and evening, and I'll maybe tomorrow, but maybe not. I gotta take breaks, so either tomorrow or Monday, I think. All right. If it's a weekday, it's gonna be evening my time. If it's tomorrow, it's gonna be around this time. So see you later. Have fun on Chris's stream. Bye.